We are back, guys, and once again, Tectone has been banned from Twitch. That's right, if we navigate here to twitch.tv/Tectone, you will see this channel is temporarily unavailable due to a violation of Twitch's community guidelines or terms of service. What did Tectone do this time? Well, actually, I think he kind of knew that he was going to get banned this time because he went all out and just started saying some words that Twitch obviously wasn't going to like. But don't take that from me. Today, we're going to take a look at what Tectone had to say about his ban, and we're going to do a little reaction. So hit that like button and get locked in. Here's Tectone.
Yep, if you saw that title, I got banned again. And this one, I was really actually shocked about.
He says that he's shocked about it, but when we get to show you exactly what it was, I don't believe him. Well, he makes good points in this video that we're going to get to in a second. I think he knew he was going to get banned.
Like, I thought, okay, I did a couple of things. Let me clarify that. I'm not shocked I got banned. I'm shocked at what I got banned for. Because what had happened is that I did something that I thought I was going to get banned for. So I apologized for it immediately. But what I actually got banned for, I was shocked. And I'll explain this why, and why I believe the hypocrisy of Twitch once again really knows no bounds. And once again, I want to make it very clear, I think what I did is fine to ban, I suppose. But the problem is that when you don't ban the most egregious offenders who are doing things far worse, it truly boggles the mind. Now, I've been banned for another month. This is my monthly ban, and I will be back at 7 days. Maybe they'll allow my appeal, who knows?
That's right, Tectone caught a 7-day ban. Now, what was this 7-day ban for? Well, let's take a look here. I'm gonna have to censor out a few words, but you can tell from the title of this Reddit post, Tectone says a slur multiple times on stream. Now, when you think about it, you think, oh, what's he gonna be saying? Is it this? And no, it's not. It's a swear word that I think you hear a lot if you're around teenagers, especially teenage boys, or just construction workers, or basically any working class man. But don't take it from me, let's hear what Tectone said exactly. I am gonna have to censor it out, so when I do, just know that he's saying an F word that refers to gay people.
But it is insane how, like, we are no longer called, like this is why we need to bring the word back, right? The reason why that is because when the internet says we can't say we can't say, you know, any of these words, right? Now creators have gone and said, oh, well, we can't say or this other word, so now we're going to call you a pedophile. Now we're going to call you a rapist.
That's right, he used the F word for gay people that I can't say on YouTube because YouTube will get mad at me. And obviously he knew that he couldn't say it on Twitch without Twitch getting mad at him. Because for some reason, these companies don't like it when people use certain swear words on their websites, but they do allow other people to slander you, like Tectone points out, and call you all sorts of things and say that you've committed crimes which you haven't committed. So anyway, let's go back to the main video and we'll hear as he expands on that idea.
I stream on Twitch for fun. I have all ads turned off. I'll be real. I make less off of Twitch than I make off of, like literally, I make more off YouTube in 2 days than I make off of Twitch in a whole month.
Speaking of which, I've enabled memberships on this channel, so if you want to help support me, if you go down next to my channel name, there'll be a join button for you. Sorry about the plug, just had to throw it in there.
I made more off of a 1-hour ad that I did on Twitch that I can just do on YouTube instead than I made on Twitch the whole month. I make nothing off Twitch. I do it for fun. I do it for the love of my community on there. It really doesn't do me any good other than just, I like supporting my community who's been on there. That's why I've always done it. But please subscribe to my YouTube and turn the bell on for all notifications because I'm going to be live on here if you're here reacting to this video. Sorry if this part doesn't interest you. Thank you for reacting to my videos.
You're welcome, Tectone.
Make sure if you're watching this via someone reacting to go subscribe to their channels. I appreciate people talking about this issue.
You heard the man. Hit that subscribe button.
So I was live on Twitch today, and I was watching an exchange between Destiny and Ethan. And in this clip, you know, a lot of the words that are thrown around between people these days are like pedophile, rapist. You know, Destiny says a lot of crazy ass shit. Destiny, you know, talking about wanting people, you know, taking away Ethan's kids and shit. And I'm like, all right, dude. Okay, we get it. And that's fine. It was probably a joke. Who knows?
It's not a joke. Tectone always does this, and it always frustrates me where he gives Destiny the benefit of the doubt over and over again. Where I don't know if you guys have ever looked at Destiny's tweets. He's a horrible person. Some of the stuff that he tweeted out right after the attempt on Trump's life at the rally where that one guy was killed in the stands, he tweeted out something about how the guy deserved it, and it was the most disgusting thing that I've ever seen a content creator put up on Twitter and then double down about. The guy is a complete racist rage baiter. Honestly, Destiny just disgusts me as a human being. So it doesn't surprise me that Tectone was upset by something that Destiny said, because that's the only way he knows to keep eyes on it. If you're not upset at Destiny, you're not watching it, and that's not a good thing.
But anyways, I just started to notice a very uncomfortable direction the internet is going, where back in the day, we would say like, oh, your mom does this, I fucked your mom. Some people would say the N-word at people. I wouldn't say the N-word at people. Other people would. People would say, they would call people fat, and they would call people gay, and all of these words that they used to call these people wouldn't be anything that could be legally pursued. You know what I mean? Like when you call people like a reed, if you call someone a fat, it's not gonna make the FBI need to arrest you or like need to look into you. Like, or even if you call someone the N-word, that doesn't mean the FBI is gonna have to look into you, right? The problem now is that people are now only using words and falsely accusing of crimes. Like they're calling people rapists. They're calling people rape, meaning you are someone who has had sex with another person that didn't want that. That is a crime. You go to jail. A pedophile. You know, they call people abusers, you know, which could be considered like sexual harassment or assault, or that you can get jail time for or fined for, or things that police will come to your house and they will investigate you for.
Now, I probably had to bleep out a little bit of that, and Tectone did bleep out some of it in his original video. YouTube really doesn't like discussions of some of the things that he's talking about. Tectone makes a good point that back in the day when people insulted each other, they would just say something that was just like dismissive, right? They'd swear at you and it'd be dismissive and basically it would just make you mad, but it's not actually an insult that means anything. Whereas nowadays, all of these content creators are throwing around insults that aren't insults. They're throwing around crimes. They're saying, oh, this guy does this guy goes after women, this guy goes after kids, all sorts of crazy stuff like that. And those kind of allegations can ruin somebody's life. And it's a very strange shift in the culture because for some reason people started getting offended at all the stuff that we used to call everybody. You know, you can't call anybody anything that you would have said in a 2007 COD lobby anymore, but you can instead now just accuse them of crimes with no evidence. It doesn't make any sense to me, and I think a lot of it is in the streamer community and in the YouTube community. You can't use swear words as much because, you know, it can affect your video. Now, YouTube has actually stepped back on that and you can start to swear more and more now, but for a long time, you couldn't get ads in your video if you swore in the first few seconds, and if you swear too much in the video, it might affect your video. So by using those terms, the terms we used to use, you know, calling people all sorts of names, you wouldn't be able to post that video on YouTube. So I think that censorship has actually pushed people to now just accusing people of crimes, because you can talk about crimes on YouTube all you want. There's all sorts of true crime channels on YouTube, and I think that's kind of a consequence of our self-censorship. I think the fact that we've put so much value in these words has led people to lose their minds and decide that these certain words are so bad nobody can say them. Whereas if you want to just say somebody has committed a horrendous crime, go ahead. That's fine, because it's not one of these words that we put in a box and said are really bad. And I think that that's not healthy. I think that that's really bad for our culture, but it's something that's been going on for a while now.
Disgusting rhetoric these days, and it's becoming to where you might have to fight fire with fire when people call you these things. Now, I haven't done that in quite a while. You know, I have said that someone looks like a pedophile. That's because, well, they do. But it's a little bit different than just saying, you are this. You have committed this crime. And so during this stream, you know, my chat was pissing me off. And so I told one of my viewers, as I've stopped doing for 2 months, to kill themselves. It slipped. I'm not going to lie. It rolls off the tongue way too quickly. It does. It's something that rolls off the tongue. It's just something that I've said my whole life. I've been saying it since League of Legends. You know, I mean, yeah, you can take a dog out of the fight. You can't take the fight out of the dog. You know.
Now, the clip that we saw on Reddit actually didn't include that moment where he told somebody to off themselves, and I think that's because the user who posted this wanted to make this seem as bad as possible for Tectone, so that's why the title says, oh, he says a slur multiple times on stream. Regardless, when I first saw the full clip of what Tectone said, I thought that that was the part that was going to get him banned, but apparently that didn't get him banned, and it was the use of the F word that got him banned, which was kind of surprising to me, because I would think that they'd care more about that than they would about the F word, but I guess not. And I actually think that the reason that Tectone went on to say the F word so many times was simply because he already knew that he was going to get banned for the things he told his chatter to do. So he decided to go all in and make the ban worth it.
But I didn't get banned for the kill, and I also apologized immediately. I was like, hey man, I shouldn't have said that, Well, I didn't get banned for that. What I got banned for was for merely saying the word fat. That's it. I didn't call anyone that. I didn't direct that towards anybody. All I said was, I would rather be called a fat than these people on the internet who just sling around false accusations and false allegations for fun. It's incredibly unsettling. It doesn't feel good. I mean, as a guy who, and the reason why I said this was that I was a guy who just got swatted because some guy or some girl called the police and said that I was women in my house and I had 8 hostages upstairs. And so I experienced my first swatting that put my friends, my life, and my animal's life in danger. And so I'm just becoming incredibly irritated and annoyed how a platform that banned me for merely saying the word fat did not ban people who called me a racist and a pet. People who called Asman a mother killer, a murderer, a pedophile. People who called Nux Taku a pet. Like, I feel like I'm going crazy here.
I think Tectone actually makes a really good point there. First off, the fact that he didn't use the F word to refer to somebody negatively, I don't understand why you would get banned for that. He was referring to himself. He said that he'd rather be called the F word than called some of these crimes that people are accusing people of. And then he goes on to explain that the reason that he feels this way is because of a recent incident where somebody sent the police to his house by accusing him of crimes he hasn't committed. And obviously that's terrible. It's a federal crime to use the police in that way, and it has killed people in the past. I'm not gonna lie, it's terrible. Absolutely horrible that that could happen. And I think Tectone is correct in making the connection between all of these people accusing random other people of crimes and that kind of abuse of the police system. Obviously, if you have a lot of crazy people listening to these crazy streamers who are accusing everybody else of crimes, eventually you're gonna have 1 or 2 crazy people in the audience go, oh, I should report that, or I should pretend that this is happening, and they'll call it in and they'll call in a fake thing. And it's not just with Tectone with them sending the police to his house. It also happened with Ethan Klein, but in Ethan Klein's case, I think it was actually significantly worse because they didn't just call the police on him, they called CPS on him, and they tried to get his children taken away simply because they disagreed with his opinion about Palestine, which, by the way, he basically has the same opinion as the people who are opposed to him. So I don't even understand why people are so upset at him for that, but they tried to get his kids taken away, all because people online accuse each other of crimes with absolutely no evidence and for absolutely no reason. It's insane.
So you're telling me I can't even say a word, which, by the way, I have gone on record multiple times telling people to not call anyone a fat because you think they're bad because they're gay. I have literally said you can call your homie a fat because he's being retarded, but never put someone down just because they're gay. That's insane. I hate to sound like too political, like a politician. I fucking love gay people. I think they're hilarious. When I was a kid, I used to wish I was gay because life's easier. Then I don't have to deal with women. If I didn't have to deal with women, my life would be way easier right now.
Now, that's the truth. No, but I do think he's right in pointing out that he wasn't using the term negatively. He was just using it as a word. And I do have to point out that it's just because we put all these words into boxes, oh, these ones aren't okay to say. And I don't really know when that got decided because a lot of the ones that aren't okay to say now were 100% okay to say when I was a kid. And you would hear people screaming them in school. You'd hear adults saying them in public. Stuff has changed recently, and I don't think that Tectone, or really anybody who was around in the early 2000s, really gets why or how all this stuff got to be so censored.
I mean, I'm not really shocked. I'm just like, numb. I'm just like, damn. I didn't direct this towards anybody else. I've gone on record saying to not call people who are actually gay that word. Me just merely saying it got me banned for 7 days.
The fact that he got banned for 7 days for this, I know he's upset about it, and I know the reason he's upset about it is because he doesn't think that he did anything wrong. And personally, I don't really think that he did anything wrong either. Just my personal opinion. I don't think that we should put words up on this pedestal and make them impossible to say or, you know, have consequences for saying a word. I'm an American. I believe in the freedom of speech, but a lot of people don't. A lot of people, especially the younger generation, they've grown up in these censored times. Instead of using censored words, they'll use TikTok speak. The whole thing's crazy, and I think that we should just let anybody say whatever word they want. A lot of the discourse around these words doesn't make any sense either. And I personally would always side on freedom of speech rather than censorship. Personally, I think that if somebody's saying something that is super egregious and super bad, the best thing you can do is let those people speak, because you bring sunlight onto what they're saying, and the public realizes that these people are vile. Their ideas get defeated in the public square, as opposed to being defeated because they're being censored, which actually just emboldens people. So I'm 100% against censorship of any kind. I do have to say that there's absolutely no way Tectone didn't know that he would get banned for saying that word on Twitch. Obviously, Twitch is going to ban you for that word. Twitch's TOS is insanely stupid, and they don't allow you to say any word that's even slightly considered a slur by like 10 people in California. So there's a lot of restrictions on what you can say on Twitch. It's not a free speech platform, and it's 100% restrictive. Unless, of course, you're Hassan, and then you can say whatever you want, especially if you are expressing support for the enemies of the United States. I don't know how Hassan gets away with that, especially because we are technically still at war with terror. So the fact that Hassan goes onto Twitch and expresses support for these groups makes no sense to me. How he doesn't get banned for that, but Tectone gets banned for this, I'll never understand that. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Did Tectone deserve this ban, or should we let people say things and words that aren't exactly pretty, especially when they're not being mean to somebody? They're not using them in a negative way. Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching all the way till the end. Remember to like and subscribe. Have a great day, and God bless you.